Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Evolve Beyond Limits podcast. We are on episode 99. And so we are talking about all things personal growth, stress optimization, and transformation. So, episode 99, my goal is 100. We're almost there. How exciting. So, I am coming to you from my living room today. And this is important because what we're going to talk about today, it would have been very easy. My husband has an all-day session and then he is taking over. It's a virtual session. So he is in our office. And it would have been easy for me to, even though I committed to recording this podcast today, to not have done it, right? Because I could have come up with all of these reasons why I don't have all of my podcast equipment and all this stuff. But in reality, all I needed to do was grab a microphone and start the process. Okay. So I posted something on Instagram today and I can't even remember exactly what it said. So I'm going to look it up and I'm going to read it to you because it was about this and I'm going to go deeper into this in just a minute. So it says you can either look for every reason why you can or search for every excuse why you can't. And the thing about it is that this is actually the same energy, just focused in two different directions. So we always have these energies inside of us. We just have to decide and choose how we're going to use them. And in every moment, we have a choice. So an example I like to give when it comes to this is people will tell me, especially women and everybody kind of says that, they're like, I'm just not creative. I'm like, really? Have you ever heard yourself actually witnessed the thoughts going through your head when you don't want to do something and the excuses that we can come up with? It is fascinating how creative we truly are. It's just that we're taking that creativity and we're pouring it into the wrong things. So I want to talk to you about choice points today. So I was running yesterday and I set my timer and I had already done my workout, but I want to start doing some more cardio. So I decided that I was going to go for a 10-minute run. So I set my timer for 10 minutes and I started running this loop that we have around our apartment. I did one loop and then I was coming up to the second, I was doing the second loop and I was a minute and I want to say it was 48 seconds away from finishing my 10 minutes. And I was coming up to a crossroads around my apartment. And here's what happened. I could go left. I could have chosen to go left. And my mind said, you only have a minute and 48 seconds. You're not going to make it the entire way around. So why don't you go left? And left, it was all flat ground, completely flat ground. And then, or the other way that I could have gone was right. And right was all uphill. Okay. So I had to make a choice in this moment. Either go left and take the easy route. And more than likely, all I would have been doing would be to stare at my phone and just wait for that second until I was done so that I could quit running. Or I could go to the right and choose to take the hill and see how close I could get to finishing the second loop. All right. So I'm going to tell you what I did here in a minute, but I just want to preface this by saying doing what is best for you rarely feels good ahead of time. All right. It's usually afterwards that the magic hits. And that's because of these choice points, because choice points compound. So I'm going to tell you what happened next. I decided that I was going to take the hill. Why? Because I didn't want to. Because I knew that it was going to be more of a challenge and I really didn't want to do it. And so I needed to, what I wanted, and this is something that I try to live by in my life, is every decision that I make, will I be proud of that decision after the fact? So it doesn't matter how anybody else shows up. It doesn't matter if, anything like that. What matters is, can I be proud of how I showed up in that moment? Will I be proud of the choice that I made once I'm done? And I knew that if I took the hill, I would be proud of that choice. I'd be proud of pushing myself that little bit extra in that moment. So I took the hill, which ended up being 2 hills. Okay. And so, but here's the thing, I got to the top of the hill and there was a slight downhill. And whenever we choose the more difficult thing, there's something that lives on the other side of it, and there's a reward. And this just happened to be an instant reward, but it was a little bit of a downhill, and I could not have been more grateful for that downhill because I had just climbed 2 hills. But I was about 100 meters, maybe a little bit more, away from making it the full 2 laps before my alarm went off. Okay, to tell me, my timer went off and said, you're done. So I could have stopped running. But I had just accomplished that hill. I had just made a choice to get up that hill. And so at that point, I made another choice. I was like, I'm just going to finish out these 2 laps. And so I didn't stop. I kept going. And this is a really simplistic story. However, I want you to understand that the choice points, we have all of these choice points in our life, and they compound. They compound on top of each other. So if we make choices that are empowering and we prove and we're proud of who we are, we're more than likely going to keep making those kind of choices. But if we make the choices that let us off easy, keep us in the familiar, those choices compound as well, right? So why this is so important is, this is why it's so important to show up in the morning and do something that takes you out of your comfort zone, allows you to be proud of yourself. Make a choice first thing in the morning that pushes you to that edge in whatever part of your life you are working on right now. That needs to be the thing that kind of takes you to that edge. Okay. And you can be proud first thing in the morning, and it's going to start to create a compound effect in the rest of your day. You are significantly more likely to keep making decisions that are in alignment with the best and highest version of yourself. But the same thing is true if you hit snooze first thing in the morning. You literally break the first promise you made to yourself. And from there on out, you're significantly more likely to keep making choices that are not in alignment with your highest and best self. And when I talk about this, I like to explain this through the lens of temporary discomfort versus chronic discomfort. So have you ever woken up, and we've all done this, and I still do this sometimes. So it's not that I'm I do my best, but I still make these decisions sometimes. But have you ever woken up and chosen to hit snooze instead of get your workout in? You might say, I'll do it later, or you're going to come up with every reason why you're not going to, or why you can't. Maybe it's raining, maybe it's cold out there, like whatever. I have time later. I just don't feel like it. I didn't get to sleep until 11 o'clock, whatever your reason is. Okay. So you come up, you spend this time being very creative and all the reasons why you're not going to, wasting a lot of time and energy rather than just getting up. But then you literally think about it all day. Because you said, especially if you said, I'm going to do it later, you now think about the fact that, like, when am I going to get this in? I don't really want to do it later. Something else comes up and now I have to choose that, whatever. Then, or you just feel guilty. So you feel this weight just sitting on top of you all day long. This is chronic discomfort, right? So the temporary discomfort is the choice point. It would have been the option to not hit snooze, even though it would have felt really good in that moment to continue to sleep, right? It would have been temporarily, for about 10 seconds, uncomfortable to not hit snooze, to get up, to do the thing. But instead, we chose chronic discomfort, where now you get to carry it around with you all day, all night, all of this stuff. So this is the same thing if you've ever had a conversation that you really don't want to have, but you know you need to have. Temporary when we choose temporary discomfort, it allows us to be free from it. It's liberating. On the other side of temporary discomfort is liberation, it's joy, it's peace, it's empowering. It allows you to be really proud of yourself. It gives you courage, and which makes you just feel like you are more brave in life. You become more resilient. It reminds you how capable and how strong you are. When we choose chronic discomfort, and it is just a choice, right? But when we choose chronic discomfort, it's disempowering. It's a weight that you carry around with you that you can't seem to shake. And the more you do it, or the more you avoid it, the bigger it gets. Think about that conversation, right? That you need to have. We've all done this where we need to have a conversation. We don't have it. We don't choose the temporary discomfort of the few minutes that it would take. Instead, we create this entire conversation in our head that's going to play out, and we go through that about 900 times, and it's just really heavy. Even if you think you're focusing on all these other things, it's sitting in your system, and it's just kind of growing bigger and bigger. And they really cause you to lose trust in yourself, and it usually ends in some sort of downward spiral. So again, just make it a point to start your day with something that makes you feel powerful, something that forces you to overcome the current version of yourself and operate at your highest self, and see how the rest of your day unfolds. So that's kind of your action step. I'm also going to link a choice point activation that I created in the show notes. You can put this on each night and allow your subconscious to go to work for you, and kind of allow these new pathways to be built where you are going to be able to see the choices in front of you and choose the one that is going to lead you to your goals, the transformation that you're trying to achieve, all of that stuff. So just becoming really aware of this and noticing the different choice points in your life is going to be really powerful. Just start paying attention to what you are choosing and label it if you need to. Okay, this is temporary discomfort. And in the moment, if you can say, am I going to choose temporary discomfort or chronic discomfort? And it can make those choices a lot easier, because you recognize that it's going to be uncomfortable for a very short period of time, or you're going to have to carry around that discomfort for a very long period of time. And that's going to be like, there's no other side to that. It just feels heavy all the time. Where on the other side of temporary discomfort, you can think it's freedom, it's liberation, it's joy, it's just being happy, in that. So start embracing that temporary discomfort and watch your life transform faster than you can imagine. It is amazing what starts to happen when you lean in to temporary discomfort and make those choices throughout your day. So just know you have all these choice points. And that's the best part, is that at any point in your day, you can change what's going on. Just because you didn't start your day with it doesn't mean that an hour later you can't make a different choice. You have hundreds and thousands of choice points throughout your day. It's up to you to start recognizing those choice points and start to consciously choose the best version of yourself and the highest version of yourself, and what would they do. So consciously choosing that temporary discomfort is going to shift so many things. And just know at any point you can make a different choice. Okay. So if you notice that you chose the chronic discomfort, then at any point you can say, you know what? Nope. I'm going with temporary discomfort. I'm going to get this done and get it out of the way. So, all right. That is all I have for you today. Just remember that transformation starts with awareness and it builds with action. So we need to take action on these things once we become aware that we're doing them. And I describe courage, which I believe that courage is what leads us to temporary discomfort and to making these choices that are in alignment with our highest self, is courage is oftentimes going in the opposite direction of what you would normally choose. Don't just react. If you need to go back and listen to that podcast, go for it. Don't react. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. Choose the bold action. Choose the temporary discomfort. And that is what courage is. And it opens you up to this full frequency of higher emotions that all of us want to be vibrating from. But we stop ourselves because we keep choosing that chronic discomfort over and over again. So if this resonated, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and keep evolving. And we will see you on the next one, episode 100. Here we go.